Hello, everybody, and welcome to Fortress Comic News, episode 245. I am one of your hosts, Chris, alongside the Kingmaker himself, Mike.
Kingmaker, huh?
Kingmaker.
Is that from?
About to give those awards out. We're gonna make some kings out of people.
Yeah. If you follow me on Twitter, which none of you do probably, I've been tweeting out my end of the year stuff of like who I tweeting about my favorite writers and artists, and they say thank you and all this stuff. And so there was a funny interaction with someone where I said if the tweet was like if Stephanie Phillips isn't on your top writers of 2021 list, are you even reading? And some guy was like, she was on my top list of 2020. It's 2021, dude. And then I replied with, she was on our show in 2018. So,
yeah, you won't get real hipster. I met her at a fucking con.
Yeah.
She was hucking some book about female hockey league, which is a really good book, everybody.
It's a really good book. It's just funny, like, we're all here to promote people. This guy, well, it was 2020. I'm like, well, it's 2021. I mean, I'm pretty sure she made our list for 2020 last year. I'm pretty sure she was on your list, Chris, but it was just a funny interaction.
Yeah. So I had two quick things.
Yeah.
So one, we obviously everybody knows we missed last week.
Yep.
I just moved, and if you don't notice, if you're watching the video, I'm currently in my father's office trying to get this show recorded. So
nice.
But that's why we missed the show last week. And two, I was going through the news, and like obviously I'm gonna have to cut stuff next week because it's gonna be 3 weeks worth of news.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to ask you about this. Did you see the Game Awards the other week? Or at least the trailers that came out of it?
No, I know something. I mean, how long ago was this? Was it a while ago?
Probably last week.
Okay. No, I just know that something about Elden Ring being the most anticipated game. Is that where that came from?
For the second year straight, yeah.
Yeah. For the second year straight, and there's no reason to pre-order it, so don't pre-order anything anymore, anybody.
No, never pre-order. Unless it's Pokemon, then you pre-order Pokemon.
Yep.
No, so they announced the new Star Wars game called Eclipse, which is going to be the first video game set in the High Republic. Looking forward to that.
Yep.
But what is important to us, because it's comic related, is they announced that Monolith Studios, I don't know if you're familiar with them, but they're making a Wonder Woman game for Warner Brothers.
Yes, I did hear that, which is sick. Yeah.
So
I'm glad to see some of her. Yeah, I do remember this. Okay, yep. And I'm very excited for Wonder Woman's like Rogues Gallery to be in the mainstream because she fights gods.
Yeah,
ladies and gentlemen.
So anyone who doesn't know, Monolith made these two games. They've made a bunch of games, but two recently: Shadow Mordor and Shadow War.
Yeah,
and they're like these open world, like fast-paced action games,
and they're amazing.
Yeah. So if that's what Wonder Woman is, like set on Themyscira, and then we can fight fucking Ares and shit.
Yes,
I'm all in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You just fight in different wars. Like one map's World War I, one map's World War II.
That'd be even cooler, yeah, if it like transcended time and everything. That'd
you
be
cool.
Just
punch Nazis and all that jazz.
I'm always down to punch some Nazis in video games.
Yeah, and for spoilers for Spider-Man, you want to give them the rundown with that? We're not going to talk Spider-Man at the beginning of the show this episode.
No, so I was originally going to leave it to next week, but I figure we do it this way. Mm-hmm. We talk about this out of the show. I'm just trying to make it interesting for you people out there. Yep. We're going to do our awards because this is the awards episode, and then we're going to do the full Spider-Man No Way Home talk at the end of the episode. So if you haven't seen Spider-Man No Way Home, when we're done with the awards, stop the episode. Nothing will get spoiled for you. And then I got to hash out how I'm going to do it on YouTube. But if you're on YouTube, most likely I put it in 2 separate videos because that's how YouTube works.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what we're going to do. That way we can talk full on all the stuff, when the fucking rhino shows up and everything.
Yep.
No, I'm just kidding, everybody. But we can talk about everything in that movie.
Yeah, so
I need to talk to somebody about this goddamn movie.
I know, we won't spoil it till the end of the show. I do have usually we do our Pat's Flash facts because he has been watching Flash before the break.
Okay.
There's a lot of info here, so thank you to Pat for sending us this. I can't even make sense of any of this from these 4 episodes.
This is, by the way, because I know Pat listens. This has become one of my favorite things of the week.
Yeah, so I guess I'll just. I mean, okay. He sums up the first 3 episodes because they're very slow. So an alien from the future, 2031, goes back to kill. So this is Flash TV. If anybody's still watching this show, I find these Cliff Notes better than actually watching the show.
Yes.
So alien from the future goes back into 2021 and wants to kill Barry. And this is also if the show kept going, but it stopped at the Crisis event. So I don't know what this is.
Yeah, that's when it ended.
Yeah. Alien from the future goes to kill Barry. Barry tries to befriend him instead of fight him to figure out why he wants to kill him. Maybe because you fucked up the timeline, Barry. Have you ever thought about that?
Over and over and over again.
Yes. Turns out in 2031, Barry goes crazy and becomes evil. So the alien wants to stop Barry. The alien agrees to watch Barry and judge his character. So naturally, Barry starts to have a lot of bad luck. He also starts losing his memory, and there's videos of him attacking the city, which he doesn't remember. Most importantly, it turns out Joe is dead, and Barry doesn't remember. He fell into some train tracks 6 months ago. What? Joe's a pretty important character, everybody. So naturally, Barry decides to go to 2031 to figure out what happens. End the 3 episodes. Episode 4 starts rehearsal dinner for Thawne and Iris. What? And the rest of the Flash gang and Batgirl and Supergirl gang, everyone is disgusted to see Barry. Barry puts his suit on, and it's the Reverse Flash yellow suit. Then Thawne puts on the red Flash suit. Thawne reveals his plan to Barry. He went back, and because he's Flash instead of Barry, it's called the Reverse Flashpoint.
So Reverse Flash becomes Flash. So Reverse Flash is Flash.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
So, and then this last episode before the break, I guess, is the last episode of the Armageddon arc. Reverse Flash shows up in modern time, attacks the CCPD, which is the police department, but he's too old to draw Barry out. Oh, but old to draw. I don't know. That's a typo. Sorry, Pat. Asks for Barry's help because he's fading away in time. So the whole episode, it's about if they should let Reverse Flash die or not. At the end, they take away his speed, which allows him to live. But then Reverse Flash is just pissed because he doesn't have his speed. You also learn about the Flash and Reverse Flash's first meeting in the future. So I'm guessing maybe the end of the series or this season will be their first meeting. I feel like the writers write this show on one of those those things at the playground that your friends sit on and spin really fast until you puke. It's not a merry-go-round. I don't know what it's called, but this show is written itself into so many circles.
So my 2 things here are, I mean, at what point do you realize it's not fucking with the timeline?
Right.
And that was a joke 7 years ago.
Right.
But my other thing is there an alternate timeline where Barry doesn't turn evil? Because haven't they done this before? Wasn't he the metal Flash thing?
I'm pretty sure there was an evil Barry at some point. I don't know. At some point you just got to stop with this show and all the CW shows and just do what Marvel's doing and all the amazing Hawkeye shit. Right?
Yeah, do that now.
Yeah.
Because, dude, we'll talk more about some Marvel shows in a minute, but
yeah,
that's towards my list.
So let's do the awards, shall we?
Yeah.
This is our 2021 King's Award. I don't know, making Kings. I don't know what you said earlier, but we're doing it. We're gonna give out some fake awards that mean nothing, hold no value, but we think they're great people. So we're going to do writers first. The top 5 comic book writers from each of us this year. So we're going to go number 5 first?
Yes.
Okay. I'll go first. Mine was Frank J. Barbier. He's the writer of Astonishing Times. It was one of the Comixology originals this year. Fantastic look on basically of Peter Parker was only a journalist and his father was a journalist for like superheroes. That's a look on this. That's a take on the superhero world through like journalist eyes, and one of the like the Superman of the world pretty much goes crazy and wants to kill the world. Great story. Awesome. I can't wait to see more from him. So
that's on my list to read immediately.
Yep.
So when I did this list, I had 7 and I had a hard time. So I want to do 2 honorable mentions real quick.
Okay.
One you're going to be mad at me about, but my number 7 would have been Stephanie Phillips.
Okay.
My number 6 was actually Charles Soule. And I wanted to shout him out because the Star Wars stuff is fantastic and he's been leading that room.
Yep.
But my number 5, Joshua Williamson.
Oh, yeah.
I think Josh has taken a step up this year. I love that first issue of Batman that we read. He did what was the miniseries he did? Infinite Frontier. Justice League Incarnate's been really cool.
Yep.
I liked Robin. And he's doing another book too that I can't even remember now. But like all the stuff he's been doing at DC, he's taken that step, and I really loved everything he's done so far this year. And I really look forward to Batman next year. It's the first time I've looked forward to Batman since New 52.
Yeah, I will say he's a great writer. He's not on my list. So number 4 for me was Stephanie Phillips. Just for the range that Stephanie Phillips is writing this year between. We had like Red Atlantis, and then I mean, obviously she's gotten a Wonder Woman. She did that little story for Aquaman, I believe in the Aquaman trade, which is a great issue, a great story. Yeah. So and she's on a Comixology original book, so pretty sick stuff going on.
She got both of us to read Harley Quinn. I mean,
yeah. Yep. Which I will be doing in trade form because I can't get myself to be downloading single issues. Yeah. So who's your number 4?
My number 4 is sorry, I got arrows here. Christopher Cantwell.
Oh, okay.
Blue Flame.
Yeah.
Awesome book. Love that book.
Amazing book. Yeah.
And he did the United States Captain America series this year, which was really good. It's a good series. I'm not going to say really good or great, but it was a good series, and it was a breath of fresh air after that recent run.
Yep.
And I even dived into his Iron Man run, and I really love that too. Like, it's tough to get me into an Iron Man book. I think the last Iron Man book I liked actually was when Tom Taylor was writing them, and it was after Axis when he became kind of he had a mind swap essentially, and he became a dick.
Okay.
And I like that, like, Iron Man as a dick.
You mean how he's in the MCU?
Yeah, how he's supposed to be.
Yeah.
No, but I really like the what Camel's been doing with that series too. So it's just he kind of jumped on the scene, at least in my view, this year, and I've really liked what he did. And if you haven't read Blue Flame, everybody go check that book out.
Yeah,
we might be talking about it again later.
My number 3 is Ram V. Solely, I mean, he's done a lot of stuff this year, but solely for the fact that he got Swamp Thing pushed to 16 issues. It's hard to get people to buy a Swamp Thing book. I mean, the last person that did it was Scott Snyder, and I think it's a refreshing take on Swamp Thing. Not trying to like one up what Alan Moore did, but also being its own thing, a new character taking up the mantle. So I thought he's done a great job with Swamp Thing. So yeah, deserve a spot.
Yeah, I want to check that book out too. So I wrote down, and then I was like, no, this guy deserves to be above this guy. So I have arrows everywhere.
Yeah, that's what happens.
Number 3, Gino and Liang.
Oh, okay.
This is solely based on Batman Superman.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the Monkey Prince book. I think that sounds cool. I like the little one shot he did in I forget the name of the actual book, but it was like the Asian Celebration DC thing.
Yep.
I don't read Shang-Chi, but fucking Batman Superman just made such an impression on me this year that he deserves a spot.
Yeah, I mean, it was really hard to pick writers this year, even artists too. This year had so many good books that we're reading, and they're from DC and Marvel too. And it's like I don't want to put when I do these awards, like I love Gene Luen Yang, but I'm trying not to put too much on DC and Marvel. But there's a lot of good shit there too, so it's hard, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the only guy I have based solely on a DC or Marvel book. I think everybody else has DC or Marvel stuff, but they've done a lot of good indie stuff as well.
Right.
But that book was so good that it deserves recognition.
Oh yeah, Batman Superman was awesome.
Yeah.
My number 2, Mark Russell. No surprise there. This guy, I got the book right here. My Bad. If you put, shitty villains and campy superheroes in a book together, I'll read it, and it's amazing. That new book that just started up at DC, which is like the shitty Suicide Squad, and I can't think of the name.
One Star Squadron.
Yeah, One Star Squadron. He's done so much crazy shit this year. Billionaire Island. And
Second Coming Volume 2 was out this
Second
year.
Coming Volume 2, yeah, that was this year. Redbox. He was trying to do something weird with that. We won't. I mean, he took a stab at it, but I think overall he's pretty consistent in how he writes, and it's always enjoyable stuff. Yeah.
Moving down a spot from last year, but no surprise, it's on my list. My number 2 is Donnie Cates.
Oh yeah, surprise.
The end of Rednecks this year was fantastic. I'm really enjoying Crossover. We got most of that book was this year.
Yep.
And then his ending to Venom, King in Black, all that was awesome. But where this lies for me the most is taking over Thor and what he did with that book.
Yeah.
Because I felt like that was a monumental task. He took over probably the best Thor run of my lifetime. And after the best Thor run of my lifetime. And I think that's huge. That it's almost as good. Like,
yeah,
I love that book, and
Hulk, Planet Hulk, or Spaceship Hulk.
Like I said, I love Venom and all that. And then I read the first issue of Hulk. I have not read the second issue as of this recording. But that first issue was really good too. So everything Donnie's been doing. Next year is going to be big too. I look forward to Vanish, continuing with Hulk and Thor, and then seeing more crossover and where that's going.
Yep. Donnie didn't make my list. I'm glad we had different writers on our list. And my number 1 this year is Tom Taylor. Dark Knights of Steel, the Superman Son of Kal-El, or I don't know if I said that one right.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, Superman Son of Kal-El, amazing book. He's doing the vampire book, right? I believe.
No, DC versus Vampires?
No, is that him?
No, that's Matthew Rosenberg.
Okay, I got it mixed up. But no, he's doing Dark Knights of Steel. I said that. Yeah, Dark Knights of Steel is amazing.
Dark Ages is the other one. And
Dark Ages, yes. Dark Ages for Marvel. Sorry, yeah. He's doing Dark Knights of Steel at Marvel, which is called Dark Ages.
Exactly.
But no, this guy, he's great. He understands every character that he writes. I mean, he knows the fan base. He knows where the character should be going. He's also doing Nightwing right now, which I hear is amazing. And I have never picked up a Nightwing book, but I will be reading that series, which is so bizarre because our mutual friend Jason, who's a huge Marvel Spider-Man fan, was like, "You need to read his Nightwing run." And I was like, "Dude, what are you doing reading Nightwing?" So
that's the correct response to that.
Yeah, what are you doing reading Nightwing? But I know there's been some good stuff out there. No shitting on any Nightwing writers, but so Tom Taylor. I mean, if you don't know him by now, we talk about him all the time. So
yeah, if he wasn't doing 2 books that I just don't care about, which are the 2 main ones, Superman and Nightwing.
Yeah.
Everything else you named was phenomenal, but those other 2 books, I can't get it up to go read those books. I'm sorry, everybody. My number 1 is also really no surprise, but it's Chip Zdarsky. Daredevil has been amazing. The first issue of Devil's Reign was really good. The first 2 issues of New Burn that started recently is phenomenal. The what's the one on Comixology? All Nighters was great.
That's really good. Yep.
He did the other Comixology original, which I'm going to zone out the name of on now. Stillwater, if people are reading that, like, so not only is he doing a bunch of really great books, he brought back What If.
Yep.
So not only is he doing a lot of really great books, but he's doing a lot of really great books across genres and jumping genres. So he's doing the classic superhero thing with Daredevil. Yep. And then he's doing the What If thing. And then he's doing New Burn, which is like a crime noir Ed Brubaker style book. And then he's doing Stillwater, which is a horror book. And then he's doing the All Nighters, which is like this weird crossover of like fables and superheroes. The dude has range like nobody else in this industry. And that's not even to say, like, he did the run on Batman Urban Legends where he got me to fucking read Red Hood.
Right. Like, right. Yeah. Impressive.
The dude's just out of this world, doing amazing stuff. And to kind of put another addition to that, if you're an avid podcast listener, which I believe you are, if you're listening to this, he does that show Manga-splaining where he has a bunch of people that read manga, and then he, as a American comic creator and artist, like interprets it. One of the best comic book related podcasts you can listen to. Cool. But all around, just one of my favorite dudes in the industry, and he's been doing amazing work. So
nice. Yeah, he is. Yeah, it's hard to pick 5 artists. Number 5 for me is Alvaro Martinez. He does the Nice House on the Lake, the James Tynion horror book. The art is crazy. I don't even know how to explain it because there's like a character that's an alien and almost breaks like the 4th dimension, so you don't really know how to interpret him. And the way he draws it is absolutely fantastic. So, and I had not heard that name before this year. I'm sure he's done other stuff, but yeah, so kudos to him because that book blew me away when I read it.
Artist for me this year was actually really easy, I think.
Oh, okay.
But they're not really out of the ordinary. So stick with me, everybody. We're going to start with number 5, which is the great Derek Robertson. Space Bastards.
Yep.
I get the same feeling from Space Bastards I got when I started reading The Boys, and pretty much everything else Derek's done. So I think he's still on top of his game, doing amazing work. Love that book. And we don't talk about this much, but like the covers he's doing for DC too are just phenomenal. I love them.
Yep.
So, and actually to kind of connect these two, because I forgot to mention it, Justice League Last Ride, written by Chip Zdarsky, everybody.
Yep.
Derek did all the covers for it, and I love those covers so much.
Yeah, they are pretty great.
They're just amazing. Yep. So I had to talk about the great Derek Robertson.
Number 5 is Leanna Kangas. She was on the show this year. Didn't know her that much until we talked to her. She did a couple issues of the Star Wars Adventures. She has her book, She Will Destroy. Her art style and her colors are like retro wave colors that she has. You check out her website. Amazing art. It's a fresh style. The colors are very pleasing to look at, and her art style is very poppy. It's really cool stuff. So check her out, and hopefully we'll be seeing more from her next year.
My number 4 is Ryan Stegman, the Steg Boy himself.
Yep.
King in Black is basically the reason for this. I was never much of a spider person, so my introduction to Stegman is Venom. And I love his style. I love how everything about what he does. And when he took over King in Black, he masterfully was able to create the line work that was able to interpret this really dark and gritty version of Marvel's New York City. And the way he drew every character just made me want him to just keep doing Marvel stuff forever, because there's not a single character in there I wouldn't want to see him draw more of.
Cool. Number 3, Jamal Eagle for I hope I'm saying Eagle right, or Eagle, for Wrong Earth. Night and Day. His art is so good. He's got a Comixology original coming up with Scott Snyder, so look out for that. I think it comes in February or March. But amazing artist. No doubt that Scott Snyder grabbed him up from this book, because we know that Ahoy is doing a whole crossover event with this book, so it's got to be, people have got to be checking it out now. He just draws my favorite superheroes, and they're not even mainstream superheroes, so it's just amazing stuff.
My number 3 is Ivan Reis.
Yep.
Back to Batman Superman.
Yeah.
I mean, I've loved Ivan Reis for a while. He did the run with Jeff Johns on Aquaman. He did the event book for New 52, where it was this crime syndicate coming.
Yep.
I'm forgetting the name of it now, but he's been around DC for a while, especially working with Jeff Johns.
Mm-hmm.
He got to work with Gene and Yang on this book, and not only did it have that awesome Ivan Reis style that I love, but dude, let's get nerdy for a minute. The panel layout of that fucking book with the film reel, and then when they would get to and then we get to the archive, and there'd just be film reels.
Yeah, that's so good. It's so awesome. Yeah.
I mean, spoilers, that book's going to be mentioned in every category for me because it's that good, and it deserves praise.
I mean, we both read that. I'm glad that we have different artists and writers and stuff, but like, I agree with everything Chris says here, because that book was amazing too. Honestly, I was trying to go through everything that I read this year, and that one, like, I missed Batman Superman somewhere. But it is fantastic. It's probably the best Batman Superman run I've read.
That book, just something about it just hit me the right way.
Yeah, it was great.
And I want everybody to read it because I think it's so good.
Number 2, Peter Krause, the artist for Ahoy Comics. I'm trying to. Oh my god, I'm drawing I thought I wrote the name down for the book here. You give me you go with your third one here.
My second one, you mean?
Oh, second one. Sorry, yeah.
My second one was Marco Chinchetto. This is the guy doing Daredevil and Devil's Reign. I think I mentioned him last year too, but I want Chinchetto to draw Daredevil for the rest of his life. He's the perfect Daredevil artist. He has just a clean, good style to him, and he knows how to get that Hell's Kitchen look with the clean aesthetic of Daredevil in just a perfect way. And until he leaves that book, he's probably gonna be my favorite artist, one of my favorite artists of the year every year. If you're what the book was.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought for some reason I had My Bad written down. Oh yeah, it is My Bad. Sorry. Peter Krause is working on My Bad. It confused me because it's got Russell and Ingman. So Mark Russell's writing it with Ingman, and then Krause is the third name. So like freaked out.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, I thought it was wrong for a second. He is drawing My Bad, and another reason that I love him, just like Jamal Eagle. I mean, he does classic superhero looks. Like when you pick up this My Bad book, it just reminds you of like a pop art style. It makes the book absurdity so much better because they're drawn so professionally, or drawn so not professionally, because everybody's a professional artist on a comic, but seriously, I would say, with like the detail, the shading. All these characters are meant to be like, they look like Batman, but they also act like dumbasses. So that's pretty great. And then my number 1 was Mike Perkins for his Swamp Thing book. Much like Chris said for the Batman Superman style, Mike Perkins does crazy layouts for the Swamp Thing book. There's a lot of transitions between his thoughts and the actions going on in the real world. So he does a great job with it. I mean, Mike Perkins got a great history with comic art, but this book specifically, I talk about Swamp Thing a lot. It's really great stuff.
So this had to be my number one. But Andrew Sorrentino is my number one.
Mm.
He really jumped out this past like 4 or 5 months, because I think not only has Sorrentino been an artist I've loved for a while now, but I think between Primordial and Batman the Imposter, he's doing the best work of his career right now.
Cool.
He has these amazing 2-page layouts on both those books. He's just kind of taken his style and perfected it almost. He's one of like a short list of artists in which I will pick up a book based on his name. And Batman the Imposter is the example of that. I had zero interest in that book, but it's Sorrentino, so I'm going to at least check it out. So yeah, that had to be my number one.
Awesome. So we're doing books next, right?
Yeah, we'll do top comics next.
Top comic books. My number 5 is the autumnal Daniel Krause, and it's a Vault comic, horror book. It's terrifying. I read it like towards the beginning of the winter, so it was nice and dreary, and it happens during the fall. The book, really good, completed story. The art from Chris Shahan is amazing. It fits the book so well. It's very eerie. It's a tale of a woman who inherits this house in a strange town from her mother who wasn't very close to her. Lo and behold, there's some weird satanic ritual shit going on, but it's a slower burn, but it's really good. It's not just spooky trying to be spooky. There's a whole myth to it, like a mythos to the town and the person that's like haunting it. It's really good shit.
My number 5. Let's see. Oh, so honorable mention, because I couldn't make a decision, but Reckless, the book series from Drew Baker and Sean Phillips, was like my number 6. But my number 5 is Daredevil by Chip Zdarsky and Marco Chinchetto. I've talked about this a lot already, but Daredevil is one of my favorite characters. The book, from the writing, is phenomenal. The art is top notch. I love the way they took the character. I love the twist of Elektra becoming Daredevil. Spoilers, everybody. Everything about it is just awesome. So, one of my favorite characters. Been a really good book. My number 5.
My number 4 was Ultra Mega Image Comics. James Herron, Dale Stewart on the art. This book was a crazy surprise to me. I remember finding it in a comic shop. It's like the magazine style bound. They're like 68-page issues, I believe, or 48-page. 3 issues so far in the first story. It's ridiculous. The art is insane. The story is insane about like these kaijus and monsters, or kaijus and like Power Ranger style, like people that can grow big and fight people. And fight the kaijus. It's an insane story. It's over the top, and I loved it when I picked it up. I'm like, holy shit, how did I not hear about this? So that was my number 4.
My number 4 is Blue Flame from Christopher Cantwell and Adam Gorham. Once again, I talked about this book a little bit earlier, but I love the twist on it. Where the book left off, as we know it right now, is a really good twist, and I look forward to seeing it concluded. But it's just been a really cool ride. Another Vault book, by the way. I think, was Ultra Mega a Vault book too?
Ultra Mega was Image book.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So at least we got 2 Vault books already. I just, once again, everybody check that book out. It's awesome.
Number 3, Geiger by Jeff Johns, Gary Frank. I almost forgot about this book this year. Chris is shaking his head because it's like another book that was so good and we left off the list.
It was my number 7.
Okay, yeah. It's just hard to pick things this year, man. Everything's so good. Jeff Johns really killed it with this book. I'd like to see him do more stuff like this rather than playing with the DC characters, because I don't know what his schedule or how busy he gets with continuity, but doing his own universe is kind of where he should stay.
Yeah. I think he needs the creative freedom to get away because a bunch of his recent DC stuff just hasn't been up to par, at least in my eyes.
I agree. And this kind of re-solidified him. And honestly, Gary Frank's art, holy shit, that guy's just on another level. It's like Gary Frank, Alex Ross, and everybody else.
Yeah.
If I had to, amazing. So that was my number 3.
Gary Frank is Alex Ross if Alex didn't paint his stuff.
True. Yeah.
That's how I feel about Gary Frank.
Yep. Yeah, I know. You're right. Yep.
Number 3 is Batman Superman. Gene Luen Yang, Ivan Reis.
Yep. One more could you say?
Go read that book. Yeah.
Go read that book. Number 2, Radiant Black. Kyle Higgins, Costa on the art. We talk about this book a lot. Who's the publisher for this? Is this Vault?
That's Image.
Okay, Image. This book was a pleasant surprise. Chris started reading it before I did. It's a tale of this, almost like Power Rangers, but the power comes at a cost, or there's something else tied to it, like another dimension where the power comes from, and it's almost sentient. Really cool story. People using the power for good, for bad, from their own perspective. They're not using it for bad. Different cultures using it. It's really good, and it's been ongoing. I mean, it's up to issue 11 or 12 now, so really good stuff.
My number 2 will be a Vault book. Barbaric from Michael Moresi and Nathan C. Gooden. It was 3 issues, but it was 3 fucking good issues, man.
Yep.
Some dark comedy, fantasy type mysticism, all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, it's about a barbarian who has a talking axe and just wants to kill people.
Nothing more to it, man.
And I just loved it.
Yeah, me too. That's why it's my number 1 for comp.
Nice.
we almost matched up. Yeah, no, Barbaric by far. It was like the holy trinity for me. It was an indie publisher. The colors and art. I mean, Nathan C. Gooden's art was amazing. Marecki, who wrote it, Michael Marecki, amazing story. I mean, it's a simple story, but it also, you got to do it well. You can't just, there's like a fine line between like going too campy and going too serious. And the way he did that book, it just worked out perfectly. And it sounds like everybody loved it. I mean, they did like 3 or 4 printings of it. It's an amazing book. It was so over the top. It was exactly what I wanted to read this year. It's exactly what I needed to read. Because that was the one book this year that I was like, man, I got to get my hands on this fucking book. I got to read it. So well-deserving a number 1.
More to come next year.
Yep.
My number 1 is actually Batman the Imposter by Mattson Tomlin and Andrew Sorrentino.
Damn, Batman book on your number 1. Are you okay?
Yeah. There's so much that goes into this because I think I talked so much shit about this book prior to it being released. Because I just thought the tagline was stupid.
Yeah.
And I stand by it. But I checked it out because of Sorrentino, and I fell in love with it. It's just so good. And it finished off this past week, and it stuck the landing. If anything, got everybody out there, just check it out. Check out that first issue, and if it doesn't hook you at the first issue, then I don't tell you, but it's some of the best Batman stuff I've read in a long time. And I just found this out today while doing research for the book. I probably should have known this, but Mattson Tomlin wrote the script to the Batman movie that's coming out that Matt Reeves is directing.
I think I remember seeing that crossover between them. Yeah, I started reading the book when you told me. It was really good. I just haven't finished it yet, so that's one that slipped the cracks for me. So I will go back and finish it.
So now I'm that much more excited for that movie because he wrote a good comic.
Yep.
And that's 1 for 1, right?
Yeah, right. There you go.
But yeah, love that book. Loved it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Last category is multimedia. For my number 5, I have Dune, the movie. Just because I'm a huge Dune fan, read the book. Haven't read all the books, but I like the world. I think it was a slow burn. Yes, it should be watched like part 1 and 2 together. But I think as far as translating the book to the movie, there's a lot there that I think has to be missed. Whether or not the right stuff was missed, I think visually the movie was absolutely amazing. Yeah, Denis Villeneuve is such a great director. So
Doom probably would have been my number 6.
okay.
So I'll be honest with everybody, I didn't do a ton this year. So everything is kind of comic related because this is a comic book show.
Yep.
But my number 5 was Shang-Chi.
Oh yeah, yeah. There you go.
I went into that movie expecting maybe not to not like it, but to kind of feel meh about it. I'm not a kung fu guy. I don't really care about Shang-Chi. And I really fell in love with the sidekick character. She was a lot of fun. I love that sequence at the end when they're in the other dimension and they're fighting the dragon. I thought there was some cool fight scenes in it. I thought it was a solid Marvel movie. Far from my favorite, let alone my favorite this year. But I really like that movie, and more people should go out and check it out.
Yeah, I mean, I try to do mostly comic book related stuff, but it is what it is.
I said that because when I did get the chance to go do stuff this year, because it's been a fucking nuts year, everybody.
Oh yeah,
at least for me.
Yep.
I tried to go and do the comic book stuff because either I want to talk about on this show or someone else invited me to go do something. So a lot of my viewing this year was comic related. I still haven't seen James Bond. So that's kind of where I've been at.
Yeah, the only reason I saw most of these movies is because I ordered them on the TV. I didn't go out. Shang-Chi would have been on my list, but my viewing experience at the theater ruined the movie for me, so I have to watch it again.
Well, and the only reason I saw Dune was because me and my father were that's our thing, one of our things together, and I was like, we got to go watch that movie together. So.
Yep. Number 4 for me is Witcher Season 2. Just finished that this week. Better than Season 1 to me, just because we're established in the world. I don't play the games. I don't read the books. Henry Cavill is a chiseled man, and he's a fantastic Witcher. This one is more focused on him training Ciri. I think the actress who plays Ciri is really good. All the characters are fantastic in that show. And this season, there's pretty much a monster fight every episode, and that's what I'm there for. So
it's what The Witcher should be.
Yeah, and it's crazy. It's not just him killing. He's either fighting dudes or he's fighting witchers, and or not fighting witchers. He's fighting monsters as a witcher. But some of the moves he pulls to kill the monsters are just fucking insane. So that show was a lot of fun, and I just finished it in a few days.
My number 4 was Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, the video game.
Nice.
Another thing that I went into kind of thinking, it probably won't be that good, and it was a lot of fun. The game feels like what James Gunn did, where James Gunn kind of set everything in a 70s vibe.
Yep.
This game takes it a decade further and sets it in an 80s vibe. Okay. So there's a lot of 80s metal, a lot of just that style and that look going on with everything.
That's cool.
From Star-Lord having the jacket with his name on the back, and a lot of hair metal in the soundtrack, but it kept the vibe of Guardians with the banter. We got to deal with the Church of Universal Truth. You meet Cosmo.
Cool.
And it's just a fun kind of single player experience. So I had to shout it out because I had a lot of fun with it.
That'll be me with the Suicide Squad game. Number 3 for me was Godzilla vs. Kong. Because that was just an amazing experience. I had nothing else to say about it. All those Godzilla movies, you can give them 20s on Metacritic. I don't give a shit. I'll still watch them. And big monsters fighting each other, or just for that boat scene alone with Kong chained to the boat, it was so sick. that scene movie was so sick, man.
That movie was so much fun.
Yeah. So and then it turned into Journey to the Center of the Earth there for a little bit. I think that was the same movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was insane. And then you get to I forgot that whole part, that even happened, dude. It was insane. Yeah,
that's my favorite part because that's when Godzilla's just like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna drill a hole to the center of the earth." And I'm gonna look down and be like, "Kong, get your bitch ass up here."
Get on up here. I'm waiting for you. Yeah, so amazing stuff. Yeah, that was my number 3.
I'm gonna rewatch that movie now.
Yeah, me too.
My number 3 was The Suicide Squad.
Mm-hmm.
James Gunn doing Suicide Squad. He did, and we did a review way back when, but he basically killed everyone off from the old movie, which made me happy.
Yep.
And then took new characters and showed everybody what a Suicide Squad movie can be. And speaking of giant kaiju, Starro.
Yep.
That movie had great banter, great sequences. Polka Dot Man's in it. What else? I mean, it was just an awesome movie.
Yeah. No, it was amazing. And it's my number 2. So, The Suicide Squad by James Gunn is everything I wanted it to be. I can't wait for him to do more Suicide Squads. I can't wait for Peacekeeper comes out soon.
Yeah.
So cannot wait for that TV show that he did. So I'm really excited for that. What was your number 2?
So my number 2, which I'm pretty sure is your number 1, is Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yes, it is. Yep.
We'll get into the spoilers here after everything, but it subverted my expectations. It had amazing scenes throughout it, and just had little nuggets throughout it that just made me happy.
Mm-hmm.
It was a wonderful, wonderful movie. And if you haven't seen it yet, everybody, please go out and see it before it gets spoiled, because I made it a mission to not get spoiled on it. And I'm so glad I didn't get anything spoiled on me.
Right.
Because from the first 10 minutes of the movie where I almost screamed to the last 10 minutes of the movie where I was crying, it's just an amazing movie.
Yep. Yeah, it is my number 1. And that's just it. I've never had so much fun in a movie theater than going to see that movie. I mean, everybody had to mask up, and I was, a little iffy about that because it was so busy and packed. And just sitting there and everybody cheering and clapping made me forget about all that. So it was such an amazing movie experience to go opening night. And even my girlfriend, who hadn't seen the last Spider-Man movie, was kind of hesitant about coming along, and she did, and she said, "Holy shit, that was so much fun." So yeah, go see it. Don't read about it online.
And my number 1 was WandaVision.
Oh man, I forgot about WandaVision.
WandaVision started off this year. I almost did too. And then I started when did this start?
Yeah.
It started off this year. It started this new transition into Marvel on Disney Plus and these Marvel TV shows that we're all enjoying right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still kind of the top tier for me, as much as I enjoyed Winter Soldier, as much as I'm enjoying Hawkeye and all that. It just transcended. And it was one of the few things in modern memory where every week I think I texted you, or I went to the comic shop and talked to our buddy Joe about it, and all this stuff. And even I even have this funny moment. I think it was episode 4 where the end credit sequence is Voodoo Child.
Yeah.
And that literally came out on my dad's birthday. And I remember I was at work all day, and I'm like, I gotta call Dad when I get home. I gotta call Dad when I get home. Yeah. I got home, and I was exhausted, and I sat down, cooked dinner, and then I got down, and I just watched WandaVision, and Voodoo Child comes on, which is my dad's favorite song. And I was like, oh, shit, I gotta call Dad.
Oh, shit, I gotta call him now.
So it's got this funny memory attached to it as well, but that show was just amazing. And it's just evidence that you can do something good and meaningful and exciting inside of a universe like that.
Mm-hmm. It was an amazing show. Dude, so much. I mean, reading and watching things, and COVID memory loss, all that shit. No, it's most likely just weed, but there's so much I've read this year. I think it might be switching to digital doesn't help. And I completely forgot about Fast and Furious 9, which is my favorite movie of all time because they drive a car in space. So there's so many great things to enjoy, but man, so many good comics, so many good indie comics. Yeah, so hopefully everybody had shared some experiences or some agreements or disagreements with what we had on our list. If you did, you can follow me on Twitter and argue with me about it, because I know none of you do. And yeah, so where do we go from here, Chris? Do we just start talking about Spider-Man, or?
Well, I'll just say, since it's the last show of the year, shout out to everybody who's on the show this year.
Thank you all.
We had an amazing slate of guests this year. Shout out to you, Mike. I had an amazing time with you this year.
Yeah, me too, man. It's been a lot of fun. It's always a lot of fun.
Every year I think I'm more impressed on who says, yeah, I'll be on your show. And
Yep.
And yeah, it was a great year, and next year hopefully it'll be even better. So,
and we made some money off the show this year, a whole $50. Don't forget about that. We made it, folks. We made it. I got $50 in my pocket. No, I think it went to my heating bill. So,
that sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, just what Chris said. Thanks for everybody for listening. All my friends and family that listen, I know you guys do because you tell me, and I love you for it. And Chris, the show would not be here without Chris. I mean, I leave and go somewhere. The show still goes on because Chris is such a hard worker, and is very dedicated to the show and knows all the electronic shit. I am terrible with that stuff. But I mean, the one show we missed is because, I couldn't take it over when he was gone, because it's so much work that he puts into this show. And it's because he loves delivering this content to everybody. He loves our subscribers. And I do as well. We wouldn't be here without you. I mean, we would have cut this show at episode 200 if we still only had 500 listeners, but now I think we have like 15,000 or something like that. So we thank you so much, and we wish you all a happy holiday season and a happy new year, and don't stop reading comics.
No, because next year's going to be some good ones. Yeah, Saga's coming back, everybody.
Saga's coming back. So, Brian K. Vaughn, get ready for my top 5 spot, you son of a bitch. But yeah, so I guess we'll start talking about Spider-Man if you don't want to hear, or do you want to do, what do you want to do?
So yeah, everybody go follow Mike at Fortress Ricker. Follow me at Fortress Chris. Follow the show at Fortress Comics _.
Yep.
And all the other stuff.
Yep.
Patreon, the 5 stars, all that. Do that.